We all do things that we shouldn't. However, some of our everyday habits can result in temporary or lifelong damage to our brains. This is why we wanted to make a video calling out some of the brain-damaging things most of us do. Welcome to our channel, where we talk about issues relating to mental health, self-improvement, general medical problems, and the journey to overall wellness. We put out weekly videos on these topics, and our content is based on scientific research and our experience as physicians practicing both Western and Eastern medicine. If this is something that appeals to you, be sure to like this video and stick to the very end to see if you want to subscribe. Without further ado, let's head straight into the main topic of today's video: 15 everyday habits that are damaging to our brain. Number 1. Social media. This is a new phenomenon, and we're not against progress. Don't get us wrong. We understand that social media can be a force for good, but like most things, too much social media can damage us. The first issue is attention capacity. Thanks to the constant flow of new content, spending too long on social media makes us less capable of ignoring distractions. In fact, it even shrinks the part of the brain that maintains concentration. Secondly, memory. People who spend too long on social media aren't capable of remembering as well as those who aren't. Is this a surprise? The constant flow of new content makes it impossible to digest and retain what you've just seen before the next thing comes up. And finally, social media impacts our social and emotional responses. When we get a new notification or message, our brain releases dopamine, the happy hormone. However, when you're so used to a constant flow of dopamine, whenever you want it, a lack of it can make us anxious and unable to be happy. We have a video on this topic. You can watch it later by clicking the I above, or the link in the description box. Number 2. Smoking. We're sure you're used to hearing about why smoking is bad for your lungs, but it's also not great for your mind. Smoking speeds up brain aging significantly. Over time, our cerebral cortex, where we do our thinking, gets thinner. But if you smoke, this process is accelerated, and you end up with an older brain than you should have. And vaping doesn't stop you from developing the same problems, so don't think you're out of the woods just because you don't smoke actual cigarettes. Number 3. Alcohol. In the short term, being drunk means the sections of your brain that control balance, memory, speech, and judgment can't do their jobs properly. But we're sure many of you are already aware of this. In the long term, however, constant alcohol consumption causes our neurons to reduce in size. This means all the fibers in our brain become less capable of carrying information around, and the brain cells shrink. As a result, thinking is seriously impaired. In the most severe form, excessive alcohol use can lead to vitamin B1 deficiency, called beriberi disease. People with this condition develop significant problems with their heart, nervous system, and other issues. Number 4. Not getting enough sleep. Your brain needs time to recuperate at the end of a busy day. It needs to make repairs, which usually involve replacing cells. But if you decide not to sleep, your neurons become overworked. Remember, when you're awake, your brain is active. If you were to walk for 24 hours straight, your legs would become exhausted. It's the same thing with the brain. In the short term, you might be sleepy and not as alert during the day. But long term, lack of sleep can increase your chances of dementia by up to 15%. When we sleep, our bodies clear out harmful substances, such as beta amyloid proteins. But when it can't clear them out, they clump up and block neural networks in our brains, leading to memory problems and dementia. Number 5. Not reading. Before bed, turn off that phone and get yourself a good, or even a bad, book. Reading has several benefits for our brain. Firstly, it increases intelligence by making us learn more. Whether it's about the topic we're reading about, new words, or new ways of thinking. It also improves our memory, which helps to slow down brain aging, since there are no distractions, the information is more likely to stay in your head. You can take a second to absorb the information without worrying about something new popping up. Finally, reading before bed allows you to relax, improving your sleep quality. And, unless you skip ahead, which is kind of weird, but you do you, you'll know why sleep is vital for our brains. Number 6. Overeating junk food. As with smoking, we often hear about the impact of processed food on other parts of the body. But what about the effects on the brain? Neuroplasticity is the process that allows us to remember new information. When your diet consists of foods high in salt and fat, your brain's neuroplasticity is diminished significantly. But why is this? First of all, junk food does not have all the nutrients our brain needs to improve function and function properly. These can only come from a well-balanced diet. Secondly, high levels of salt can increase inflammation throughout the whole body, including the brain. Finally, the salt in junk food steals water from the brain, causing its cells to shrink and neural pathways to slow down. Number 7. Diet soda. These days, many of us are switching to diet soda due to the high sugar levels in regular soda. And we've all heard this may not be a good idea, since artificial sweeteners can cause similar responses in our body to glucose. But diet soda is not just bad for our insulin levels, it's also bad for our brain. Many diet drinks replace sugar with an artificial sweetener called aspartame. This chemical makes the blood-brain barrier more permeable. So not only does more blood get into the brain, but so do the hormones carried within. The main one is dopamine. Too much dopamine can cause our thinking and reward centers to always expect dopamine and become anxious when we don't have it. In addition, increased permeability of the blood-brain barrier can also lead to a host of other health issues, so it's best to avoid that Diet Coke you've been craving. Number 8. Lack of exercise. Many of us think of our mental and physical health as separate things, but they are very much connected. Taking care of your body has a domino effect on your brain. When you exercise, you sleep better. Using up your energy means your body is in a better position to recharge, and you get a high-quality sleep instead of feeling energetic at bedtime. When you achieve something, your body gives you a moderate but essential sense of dopamine. In the past, this dopamine would come from hunting a large animal. Still, today it can also come from completing a set at the gym, finishing a long walk, or winning a game. Although too much dopamine can be damaging, getting dopamine when you achieve something is vital. When you focus on your exercise, you can stop focusing on all the stress that life brings you. This can help keep conditions such as depression and anxiety at bay. And finally, when you exercise, your body looks better. Being more attractive is a great way to raise your self-esteem. Although raising your self-esteem can seem selfish, it puts us in a better position to think clearly without negative thoughts weighing us down. Number 9. Social isolation. A healthy social life is a sign of a healthy mind. If you spend your life living as a hermit, you could be at risk of not allowing your brain to grow as strong as it could. Being around others allows us to sharpen our memory and other cognitive skills. Unlike an online conversation, a face-to-face discussion requires you to think on the spot about your answers and take in what people say, as there won't be a written record of it. It also staves off loneliness, which is often a key contributing factor to depression. We are social animals by nature, so being separated from others makes us feel lost and upset. Spending time around others will increase our natural dopamine levels since our brains reward us for being able to fit in. One more benefit of being around others: it encourages us to be healthy. Call it peer pressure or encouragement, but when you're around others, research has shown that people in a group tend to encourage each other to become healthier rather than, say, overeat or overdrink. Number 10. Playing football. For all our European friends watching, we're afraid that football means the game that you call American football. Yes, one of the most popular sports in the country can cause long-term damage to your brain, as we've all learned from the news. even if you wear a helmet. After each knock and tackle, the brain bounces around and twists in the skull, causing your neurons to become stretched and damaged. Not even the best helmet can stop this. After a particularly nasty bump, you should become disorientated and desensitized. But the bumps don't have to be strong. Even multiple smaller bumps release a protein called tau. Tau clumps together and interrupts the flow of your neural networks, causing you to permanently become slower thinking and less capable of rationalizing your thoughts. Number 11. Avoiding brain training puzzles. There are multiple types of brain puzzles you could do. Word searches, crosswords, Sudoku, or any other kind of puzzle that gets your brain ignited. The connections that bind the different sections of your brain together become stronger, which provides you with a better memory. Not to mention, when you get it right, you get a well-earned dopamine hit. As your logic and reason skills become sharper, all other parts of the brain are also activated, enabling you to become an all-rounded thinker. Number 12. Skipping breakfast. When we wake up in the morning, our glucose levels are low. Our blood sugar naturally dropped throughout the night because we didn't need the energy. But to be able to do anything, we need that energy. Without glucose, all the electrical signals that our brains provide us with will not get created. After all, electricity is just another form of energy, and because it's in the human body, it comes from glucose. Therefore, in the morning, make sure to eat something, but avoid eating sweet junk foods, which only provide a temporary energy hit. It's better to have some foods that break down slowly and will give you energy until lunchtime. Number 13. Being in the dark too much. If you spend all your time sitting in a dark room, open the damn curtains. This issue is particularly bad in the winter when it stays darker for longer. The first problem is that we need light for serotonin production. Serotonin helps us to relax and feel happy, much like dopamine, and we have evolved to get it from the sunlight. But without natural sunlight, you can't expect your serotonin levels to rise. As well as serotonin, a lack of sleep also damages our melatonin. When it becomes dark, our bodies will release the hormone melatonin to make us sleepy. But if you spend all day in the dark, your body will not know when it's bedtime, and it won't give you the sleepy hormone when you need it most. Number 14. Not drinking enough water. All our cells are predominantly water, including the cells in our brain. Take this water away, and they cannot do their jobs properly. Without enough water, your brain cells cannot communicate with each other and send the electrical signals throughout. Additionally, water clears out toxins and transports nutrients to your brain. So, if you feel thirsty, make sure to have a drink of water or tea. Number 15. Judging others. When you pass judgment on others, usually subconsciously, you end up judging yourself too. If you're worried about what other people are doing, you end up thinking others think the same of you, which causes you to overthink and become anxious. We often think that people think the same way we do. Even though it isn't always true, it still causes us to behave in a way we would approve of if we saw others doing it. So, don't judge others, and your own mind will become healthier. The final bonus tip: moderation matters. Throughout this video, we mentioned lots of habits that you probably practice. And before we end, we just wanted to say, don't worry if you occasionally slip up. Having a Diet Coke from time to time, missing breakfast one day, having the occasional beer, or treating yourself to a burger will not immediately make you stupid. However, moderation is the key. As long as you realize when something is starting to become a habit and work towards improving as a person, it doesn't matter if you give yourself the occasional treat or make mistakes. So, what was your favorite tip from today's video? Sound off in the comments, and give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. If you find this information helpful, we're sure you will enjoy this other video from our channel too. Until next time, we wish you a happy and healthy day.